The global technology landscape is experiencing a seismic shift. For decades, Silicon Valley dictated the pace of innovation, setting standards the world followed. But in 2025, a new chapter is being written. One where Chinese companies aren't just participating in the tech race, they're redefining it entirely. And at the forefront of this transformation stands Xiaomi, a company that has evolved from a scrappy smartphone maker into a diversified technology giant, challenging Apple's supremacy in ways few thought possible. This isn't simply a story about corporate competition. It's about national ambition, technological sovereignty, and a fundamental restructuring of who controls the future. From breakthrough semiconductor achievements to artificial intelligence integration, from revolutionary camera systems to autonomous electric vehicles, China's tech ecosystem is demonstrating capabilities that are forcing even the most skeptical Western observers to reconsider their assumptions. What makes this moment particularly significant is the context. Years of trade restrictions, export controls, and geopolitical tensions were supposed to slow China's technological progress. Instead, they accelerated it. Today, we examine how this happened, why it matters, and what it means for the global balance of technological power. Act 1. The chip that changed everything. Beijing, May 22, 2025. The auditorium buzzed with anticipation as Lei Jun, Xiaomi's charismatic founder and CEO, took the stage. What he revealed that day sent shockwaves through the semiconductor industry and marked a watershed moment in China's pursuit of technological independence. The Surge S4, internally codenamed Xingxin 01, represents far more than just another mobile processor. It's a 3-nanometer chip, placing Xiaomi in the exceptionally exclusive club of companies capable of producing cutting-edge silicon at this advanced process node. Until this announcement, only Apple had successfully brought a consumer-grade 3-nanometer chip to mass production. Now, a Chinese company had achieved the same feat. Lei Jun's presentation was measured but unmistakably proud. Behind this single chip lay an investment exceeding 13.5 billion yuan, roughly $2 billion, and years of intensive research and development. This wasn't a speculative venture or a symbolic gesture. This was Xiaomi making a calculated bet on vertical integration, following a playbook that has served Apple extraordinarily well. Control your own silicon, control your own destiny. The technical specifications tell part of the story. Built on second-generation 3-nanometer architecture, the Surge S4 features a 10-core CPU configuration. At its heart sit two high-performance Cortex-X 925 cores running at an impressive 3.9 GHz, supported by efficiency cores designed to balance power consumption during lighter tasks. Graphics processing comes courtesy of a 16-core Immortalis G925 GPU, delivering the computational muscle needed for everything from gaming to advanced photography processing. But specifications alone don't capture the strategic significance. For years, Xiaomi has relied on Qualcomm's Snapdragon processors, as have most Android manufacturers. This dependency created vulnerability to supply chain disruptions, to pricing pressures, to geopolitical complications. By developing proprietary silicon, Xiaomi gains flexibility, differentiation, and crucially, the ability to optimize hardware and software in ways that simply aren't possible with off-the-shelf components. The reaction across Chinese social media was electric. State media outlets framed the announcement as a technological breakthrough, a symbol of national capability. Consumers celebrated it as validation that Chinese companies could innovate at the highest level, not merely copy or incrementally improve upon Western designs. The psychological impact shouldn't be underestimated. This chip represented possibility, proof that the technological ceiling was higher than many had believed. Industry analysts noted something else. The Surge S4 isn't just competitive with existing solutions from Apple and Qualcomm. In certain benchmarks, it surpasses them. Energy efficiency numbers were particularly impressive, suggesting that Xiaomi's engineering teams had learned valuable lessons from both competitors' strengths and weaknesses. This wasn't about matching the West, it was about potentially leapfrogging it. Act 2. Taking aim at Apple's crown, Xiaomi's semiconductor achievement set the stage, but the company's broader smartphone strategy revealed even greater audacity. In late 2025, Xiaomi announced its next flagship lineup, the Xiaomi 17 series. The naming alone told a story. Leijun deliberately skipped the number 16, jumping directly from the Xiaomi 15 generation to Xiaomi 17. This wasn't an accident or superstition. It was a calculated statement of intent, direct alignment with Apple's iPhone 17 naming convention, a psychological positioning that says, "We're not chasing you anymore, we're running alongside you." During the launch presentation, Lei Jun's confidence was palpable. The Xiaomi 17 series has surpassed iPhone 17 in numerous critical areas, he declared, before methodically outlining the evidence. For a company that once positioned itself primarily as a budget alternative to premium brands, this represents a remarkable evolution in identity and capability. The Xiaomi 17 family, consisting of the standard model, the 17 Pro, and the 17 Pro Max, arrives powered by Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor. While Xiaomi continues developing its own chips, the company maintains strategic flexibility by also utilizing best-in-class components from partners. The performance benchmarks are formidable, delivering processing power that handles everything from computational photography to augmented reality applications without breaking a sweat. But hardware specifications tell only half the story. The more significant narrative is pricing. Xiaomi has positioned these flagship devices at price points substantially below Apple's comparable models, in some markets offering similar or superior specifications for 40 to 50% less. This aggressive pricing strategy isn't about desperation. Xiaomi's profit margins remain healthy. Instead, it reflects a fundamental understanding that premium technology doesn't need to command luxury pricing to be successful. This approach has profound implications. In markets across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, where price sensitivity is higher, but aspirations for premium technology are equally strong, Xiaomi's value proposition becomes nearly irresistible. Even in developed markets, consumers increasingly question whether incremental improvements justify premium pricing. Xiaomi is exploiting this hesitation masterfully. The strategic brilliance goes deeper still. By benchmarking directly against iPhone rather than positioning as a budget alternative, Xiaomi elevates its brand perception. Consumers begin viewing these devices not as compromises, but as smart choices, equivalent capability for better value. This psychological repositioning represents years of careful brand building finally reaching fruition. Industry observers note that Apple faces a dilemma: compete on price and sacrifice margins, or maintain pricing and potentially cede market share. Xiaomi has structured the competition to make either choice uncomfortable, a masterclass in competitive strategy. Act 3. Reinventing Mobile Photography. Barcelona, February 2025. Mobile World Congress, the industry's premier trade show, has witnessed countless product announcements over the years. But Xiaomi's demonstration of its modular optical system represented something genuinely novel, a reconceptualization of what smartphone photography could become. The concept is elegantly simple yet technically sophisticated, a high-quality lens module that magnetically attaches to a smartphone, effectively transforming it into a serious photographic tool. The specifications reveal serious intent. This is a 35mm f1.4 prime equivalent lens, featuring a micro Four Thirds sensor. Connecting to the phone via a proprietary high-bandwidth interface Xiaomi calls laser link communication. For photography enthusiasts, this bridged a long-standing gap. Smartphones have steadily improved their computational photography, using artificial intelligence and multi-frame processing to compensate for small sensors and limited optics. The results have become remarkably good for everyday photography, but serious photographers still needed dedicated cameras for work requiring optical quality that physics simply won't allow from tiny smartphone lenses. Xiaomi's modular approach offers a middle path. Carry your phone daily with its integrated cameras for convenience, but when the occasion demands, a landscape shoot, a portrait session, low-light photography, attach the professional-grade optical module and gain capabilities approaching dedicated camera systems. The laser link communication protocol is crucial here. Traditional wired or Bluetooth connections lack the bandwidth needed to transfer large amounts of image data in real time. Xiaomi's proprietary solution enables the phone's computational power to work seamlessly with the external optics, combining optical excellence with processing sophistication. This isn't merely about better pictures, it's about workflow integration. Professional and enthusiast photographers increasingly value systems that adapt to different contexts rather than forcing choices between capability and convenience. Xiaomi is building an ecosystem that respects this reality, understanding that the best camera is genuinely the one you have with you, especially if that camera can transform based on need. The market response has been intrigued, if cautious. Photography purists question whether modular systems can truly match dedicated equipment. But Xiaomi isn't targeting purists. It's targeting the much larger group of advanced amateurs and content creators who want excellent quality without carrying multiple devices. Early reviews suggest the system delivers on its promise. Image quality from the modular lens significantly exceeds what the phone's integrated cameras can achieve, while the processing pipeline leverages the smartphone's computational capabilities in ways traditional cameras can't match. It's a genuine hybrid approach, and it hints at where mobile photography might evolve as physical and computational limits continue to blur. Act 4. The Intelligence Layer. While hardware innovations capture headlines, Xiaomi's integration of advanced artificial intelligence into its operating system represents perhaps the more transformative development. In early 2025, the company embedded DeepSeek R1, a powerful large language model developed in China, directly into HyperOS through an interface called Xiaomi Super Assistant. The timing and context matter enormously. In mainland China, ChatGPT remains inaccessible, blocked by government internet controls. Google's Gemini faces similar restrictions. This creates both challenge and opportunity for Chinese technology companies. The challenge of developing competitive AI capabilities independently. The opportunity of a massive domestic market eager for intelligent assistance. DeepSeek R1 represents China's answer to Western large language models. While specific technical details remain partially proprietary, independent testing suggests capabilities broadly comparable to GPT 3.5 or GPT 4 in Chinese language tasks, with performance tuned specifically for Chinese cultural context, idioms, and usage patterns. For Xiaomi's users, this means an AI assistant that genuinely understands not just language, but cultural nuance. The integration spans Xiaomi's device ecosystem comprehensively. The Xiaomi 15 and 14 series smartphones, Redmi K80 and K70 models, tablets including the Pad 7, all gain access to this AI capability through system-level integration. This isn't a separate app users must launch. It's woven throughout the operating system, available through voice, text, or contextual activation. Practical applications are diverse. Users can ask complex questions and receive detailed answers, have natural language conversations, generate written content, analyze photos to provide information about objects or scenes, get recommendations based on usage patterns, or control smart home devices through conversational commands. The system learns individual preferences over time, becoming more personalized and anticipatory. But beyond convenience features, Xiaomi's AI integration serves strategic purposes. First, it reduces dependence on foreign AI platforms, aligning with broader Chinese goals of technological sovereignty. Second, it creates data advantages. Every interaction helps train and refine the models, creating a virtuous cycle of improvement. Third, it strengthens ecosystem lock-in. Users invested in an intelligent system personalized to their preferences become reluctant to switch platforms. Privacy considerations are handled through a combination of on-device and cloud processing. Sensitive tasks can be processed locally, while more demanding queries utilize Xiaomi servers. The company emphasizes data security and user control, though, as with all AI systems, the balance between functionality and privacy remains an ongoing negotiation. Industry analysts view this AI integration as evidence of Chinese technology companies' maturation. A decade ago, Chinese firms were largely consumers of Western AI technology. Today, they're developing competitive alternatives and, in some areas, pushing boundaries further than Western counterparts, particularly in practical deployment at massive scale. Act 5. Beyond smartphones, the electric vehicle Gambit. Xiaomi's ambitions extend far beyond mobile devices. Perhaps nowhere is this more evident than in their aggressive entry into electric vehicles, a market where Chinese companies are rapidly establishing global leadership. The YU7, Xiaomi's SUV model, exemplifies their approach: sophisticated technology, competitive pricing, and deep integration with their broader ecosystem. But it's the vehicle's computing architecture that reveals how seriously Xiaomi is taking this challenge. Traditional automobiles contain dozens of separate electronic control units, individual computers managing different systems from engine control to entertainment to climate. This architecture is redundant, heavy, power-hungry, and challenging to update. Xiaomi's solution consolidates functions into a 4-in-1 computing module that handles advanced driver assistance systems, infotainment, vehicle communications, and core vehicle controller functions in a unified platform. The results are dramatic: a 75% reduction in electronic control units and a 40% decrease in power consumption. These aren't marginal improvements. They represent fundamental rethinking of automotive computing architecture. Fewer components mean less complexity, reduced failure points, lower manufacturing costs, and easier over-the-air updates. The sensor suite supporting autonomous and assisted driving capabilities is comprehensive. A roof-mounted 128-line LiDAR unit providing detailed three-dimensional environmental mapping, 4D imaging radar for detecting objects through adverse weather, 11 cameras offering 360-degree vision, and 12 ultrasonic sensors for precise close-range detection. This isn't merely a car, it's a rolling data collection and processing system. The vehicle's software ecosystem connects seamlessly with Xiaomi's smartphones, tablets, and smart home devices. Your car knows your schedule from your phone's calendar, preconditions temperature based on your preferences, and can be remotely monitored and controlled through Xiaomi's apps. This level of integration creates compelling user experience advantages while reinforcing ecosystem loyalty. However, Xiaomi's EV journey hasn't been without challenges. In March 2025, a crash involving their SU7 sedan model raised questions about safety systems and testing protocols. The company responded with transparency, publicly addressing the incident, enhancing testing procedures, and implementing software updates to affected vehicles. While the incident temporarily dampened enthusiasm, Xiaomi's forthright response and corrective actions helped maintain consumer confidence. Despite this setback, investor confidence remains strong. Xiaomi has committed at least 50 billion yuan, approximately $7 billion to their automotive division over the coming years. This isn't a tentative exploration, it's a full-scale commitment to becoming a major player in transportation's electric future. The broader context is crucial. China has emerged as the world's largest electric vehicle market and is rapidly becoming its most innovative. Companies like BYD have already surpassed Tesla in unit sales. Xiaomi's entry brings smartphone-era thinking to automotive. Fast iteration, software-centric design, ecosystem integration, and aggressive pricing. The combination could be formidable. Act 6. The broader Chinese tech resurgence. Xiaomi's achievements don't exist in isolation. They're part of a comprehensive Chinese technological resurgence that's reshaping global innovation landscapes in fundamental ways. Consider the semiconductor sector. When the United States imposed restrictions limiting Chinese access to advanced chip-making equipment and technology, conventional wisdom held that China's progress would stall, perhaps setting them back a decade. Instead, companies like SMIC found workarounds, developing processes that achieved similar results through different methodologies. Huawei's Kirin 9000S and subsequent processors demonstrated capabilities that Western analysts didn't expect for years, manufactured using techniques that circumvented restricted technologies. This wasn't merely impressive engineering. It represented systematic reorganization of supply chains, massive capital investment, and coordinated national effort to achieve technological sovereignty in critical areas. The results suggest that technology restrictions, rather than constraining Chinese innovation, may have catalyzed more aggressive indigenous development. Artificial intelligence presents another striking example. While global attention focused on OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's models, Chinese companies deployed AI at unprecedented scale across society. Ernie Bot from Baidu, Qwen from Alibaba, Spark from iFlyTek, and numerous other large language models emerged, each tailored to specific applications and markets. But beyond chatbots, AI became embedded throughout Chinese infrastructure, optimizing traffic flows in smart cities, managing energy distribution grids, enhancing factory automation, supporting medical diagnosis, and increasingly augmenting military capabilities. The approach differs from Western markets. Where American and European deployment often emphasizes consumer applications and grapples with regulatory frameworks, Chinese implementation is characterized by rapid, large-scale integration across critical systems with strong government coordination. The result is practical experience operating AI at scales and in contexts that Western companies are only beginning to explore. Robotics and automation represent yet another frontier where Chinese capabilities are accelerating. Factory floors in Shenzhen and Shanghai increasingly operate with minimal human intervention. Robotic arms performing assembly, autonomous vehicles handling logistics, AI systems managing quality control and optimization. Even Elon Musk, no friend to unmerited praise, has acknowledged that Chinese manufacturing facilities represent the most advanced production capabilities he's encountered globally. This automation isn't merely cost-cutting, it's preparation for demographic challenges. China's working-age population is declining, a trend that will accelerate in coming decades. Robotics and AI offer pathways to maintain productive capacity despite fewer workers, transforming potential demographic liability into opportunity for technological advancement. Electric vehicles and renewable energy provide perhaps the clearest example of Chinese strategic success. The country controls approximately 80% of global battery supply chains, from lithium extraction to cathode manufacturing to cell assembly. Companies like BYD and NIO have become global players, while legacy automakers increasingly depend on Chinese battery suppliers. This wasn't accidental. It resulted from years of subsidies, industrial policy, and coordinated investment, creating advantages that will be extraordinarily difficult for competitors to overcome. Even more striking is the velocity of innovation. BYD recently unveiled blade battery technology, offering improved safety and energy density. CATL is developing condensed batteries with energy densities, enabling electric aircraft. These aren't incremental improvements, they're technological leaps that redefine what's possible. The 5G and emerging 6G landscape tells a similar story. Despite intense American pressure, Huawei continues building telecommunications infrastructure globally.
China operates the world's largest 5G network, with deployment far outpacing Western nations. Research into 6G, promising speeds and latencies that will enable entirely new applications, is proceeding aggressively, with Chinese institutions publishing the majority of relevant research papers. This breadth of advancement across semiconductors, AI, robotics, batteries, telecommunications, and more isn't coincidental. It reflects coordinated national strategy, with the Made in China 2025 initiative and subsequent programs explicitly targeting technological leadership in strategic sectors. Massive state investment combines with entrepreneurial dynamism, creating an innovation ecosystem that operates at remarkable scale and speed.
Act 7. The Geopolitical Dimension. Perhaps nothing illustrates how substantially perceptions have shifted than recent comments from Donald Trump, whose presidency was defined partly by technological and economic confrontation with China. In recent interviews, Trump acknowledged what many observers have been documenting. China is very smart. They are ahead in many areas. They're outworking everyone. These aren't words of praise. Their recognition of competitive reality, all the more significant coming from someone whose political identity is intertwined with challenging Chinese power. This represents an important psychological inflection point. For years, Western discourse around Chinese technology emphasized copying, intellectual property theft, and qualitative inferiority. There was truth to these criticisms historically. Early Chinese tech industries did rely heavily on emulation and reverse engineering. But continued reliance on outdated narratives blinds observers to transformed reality. Today's Chinese technology sector increasingly leads rather than follows. In mobile payments, Chinese platforms pioneered capabilities Western systems only later adopted. In e-commerce innovation, companies like Alibaba and JD.com developed social commerce and live stream selling that American platforms now emulate. In electric vehicles, Chinese manufacturers are pushing boundaries of battery technology, autonomous systems, and manufacturing efficiency. The geopolitical implications are profound. Technological leadership translates to economic advantage, military capability, and soft power influence. For decades, American technological supremacy undergirded its global position. As that supremacy becomes contested, so too does the broader architecture of international power. This isn't merely about pride or prestige. It's about fundamental questions of whose standards and systems will shape the future. Will artificial intelligence develop primarily under Chinese or Western approaches to data, privacy, and governance? Will telecommunications infrastructure worldwide run on Chinese or Western equipment, with corresponding implications for security and access? Will the next generation of critical technologies, quantum computing, biotechnology, advanced materials, emerge primarily from Chinese or Western innovation ecosystems?